I want to quickly talk to you about how to get a credit card with no job or income. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Security Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous if you're to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to actually address an important issue. How do you actually get a credit card with no job or income? If you've recently been laid off and you are wondering if you can apply for a credit card, the good news is that you may qualify. So in this show, we'll show you how to get a credit card if you are out of work. The thing here is that layoffs, health issues, relocations, and a number of other factors can leave people without a job, and that can make it extremely difficult to make ends meet. It may also put you at risk of missing payments and winding up with bad credit. So while you should actually stick to a strict budget during your period of unemployment, you may still need access to credit to get through your hard times, right? This makes sense. Now, the catch-22 here is that it can be difficult to qualify for a credit card without steady income. And the good news is that credit card issuers look at other sources of earnings beside employment, so you can often qualify if you get public assistance check, or receive money from a spouse or relative. And you also have there was a law that was passed in 2009 called the Card Act, and under that law, credit card companies are required to consider applicants' ability to pay before issuing new credit cards or even increasing credit limits. So that is meant to protect consumers from borrowing more than they can pay back. Okay, and so you can get a credit card while unemployed, but folks, is it a good idea? It depends on your situation. So if you're seeking access to credit merely in order to cover essential expenses, you want to proceed with caution, because credit card debt is notoriously expensive. This is very important. I'm going to repeat it. Credit card debt is notoriously expensive. If you have money in savings you can tap, or a loved one willing to give you a loan until you get a new job, this may be better options. But if you are applying for a credit card in order to build your credit and you have access to funds to pay it off each month, this may make sense for you. And here are two kinds of cards you may want to consider. First, you can get a credit card with a 0% intro APR, or you can get a credit card with a low ongoing interest rate. Okay, so 0% intro APR or a low ongoing interest rate. This is great if you have a fair or average credit. You know, your FICO is around 6 to 630. All right, so this is important. Now, you want to consider the impact to your credit history and credit score before you get a new credit card with no job or income. Okay, now let's talk about how to actually get the card if you have no job or income. First, you want to list all income sources on your applications. You can list alternative income sources on your application, including your unemployment benefits. So this includes your investment returns, rental property income, trust fund payouts or inheritances, any child support you receive, alimony payments you receive, social security payments, public assistance, retirement distributions. And the income threshold you must meet may not be as high as you think, especially if you have a good credit score and don't have debts. Okay, so this is important. And so to ensure the greatest likelihood of success, you want to actually include all acceptable sources of income when calculating your total. And obviously, you need to read the terms and conditions for the card you're applying for to see that whatever you're supplying on the application form does qualify, because you might want to include things like, you might be able to include things like alimony and child support. And if you have lost your job and you are collecting unemployment compensation, you can also count your unemployment benefits as income on your next credit card application. Okay. Now, one thing I need to mention though, Because unemployment benefits are taxable, the IRS considers it to be income or benefits fully taxable as wages, which means that typically credit card issuers do too. If you're married, you can claim your spouse's income. That's better, right? That's fantastic. That's great. And even if you recently got laid off, you can claim the income of your employed spouse or partner if you file your taxes as a household. So if you're, let's say, if your spouse works, then you are allowed to include a household income on your application. And that wasn't always the case. As I said earlier, there was a law that was passed in 2009 where they had Congress had put in the legislation the concept of household income. So they actually included that provision in it. And what they are doing here is that they are actually saying, hey, listen, if you are living with someone, if you file a joint return, then it's okay. Right? But that means what? It also means that they are leaving out any non-working spouses or stay-at-home spouses from getting a credit card. Okay, so they're actually making sure that people are having access to credit cards, especially during hard moments. The one thing you have to be careful about is that issuers will check your income. Okay, so you want to be very clear and forthcoming with your income. So most card issuers, they will use a consumer's stated income on applications when issuing a card. Now, but in some cases, your creditor may ask you to verify your income or use an income modeling algorithm to estimate your earnings, and it really depends on your situation. So you have income modeling, and then you have financial reviews. Now, income modeling algorithms produced by credit bureaus such as Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, they will estimate your income based on your credit report information. And creditors typically use this to double check stated incomes or to determine credit line increases on existing accounts. So for credit card companies, really, if you think about it, these estimations are an easy way to quickly assess a borrower's financial standing without requesting access to tax documents and other verification. And one thing you need to be aware of is that you have something called financial reviews. So if you're spending a lot of money or applying for several cards within a short period of time, some creditors will run what's called a financial review to verify your income. And such reviews are expensive for creditors to conduct, though, and they tend to be rare. So during such a review, you may be asked to provide tax returns and other documents to verify your income. And if you can't provide proof of your reported income, the creditor may lower your credit limits or close your accounts altogether. Okay, and this is important. Now, what happens if your estimated income is off? In other words, you lied on the application, which you should never do. So estimating your annual income in good faith and coming up short is completely understandable. Inventing self-employment income, grossly inflating your actual income, or listing a non-existent employer, though, is a different matter entirely. So if a creditor can prove in court that you committed fraud when applying for a credit card, the lender could make that debt unable to be discharged in a bankruptcy proceeding. And this is something you have to be aware of. And on very rare occasions, we've seen in the news that people have also been convicted of fraud for lying about their income on credit card applications, resulting in steep fines and jail time. So this is important, okay? But one thing, as I said before, if you have reported your income to the best of your knowledge, you don't have to worry about anything. So, to get a credit card with no job or income, number one, list all income sources on your application. Number two, you want to understand basic credit card requirements. One thing you have to understand here is that having a job is not a credit card requirement, really. Many credit card applications only ask for generic occupation or employment and income information. You may simply have to choose whether you are a student, government worker, homemaker, self-employed worker, or unemployed. Some applications may ask the name of your employer, but allow you to enter none if you don't have an employer. So it's not really a big deal. You may find that some applications do not ask the employer, they don't ask for employer information at all. And if employment information is requested on the credit card application, guess what? You are legally required to answer the question honestly. So, income is more important than having a job. So, even if you don't have to enter employment information, the credit card application will require you to list your total annual income. So, you can include alimony, as I said earlier, child support, or any other income you want to be considered for repaying your credit card balance. So, college students, for example, may be able to include any financial aid left after covering their tuition in their income on a credit card application. And to calculate your total annual income, you simply have to multiply weekly income by 52, or multiply by monthly income by 24, multiply income you receive every other week by 26, and multiply monthly income by 12. And if your income is not enough to satisfy you for a credit card on your own, there are a few other options. Okay, so the next thing you can do is you can get a co-signer. So a co-signer is a person who agrees to be legally responsible to pay debt if the borrower does not pay back a loan as agreed. So this may be a parent, a legal guardian, or a spouse, but note that they're just your backup. So not every card issuer allows co-signers, but some do. For example, the Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card allows for co-sign cardholders and offers a 3% cashback in the category of your choice, 2% cashback at grocery stores and wholesale clubs. All right. So this is something you have to think about. You can get a co-signer and still get all the benefits of a regular card. Okay. Make sure the co-signer has a great credit score and steady income. This is very important. And you can also have something called you can become an authorized user. So a friend or family member can actually make you an authorized user on their account. So you'll get a card with your name on it that's linked to their account. So they will be responsible for making the payments, so you can work out an agreement with them to decide on the spending limits and payment plan. Stick to the plan to avoid hurting the primary cardholder's credit score, because you're now tied to their credit score, so it could affect you too. And some card issuers report and authorize users' credit history to credit bureaus. So this is kind of cool. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation about how to get a credit card with no job or income. And step number 4. So step number 1, you want to list all income sources on your application. Number 2, you want to understand basic credit card requirements when it comes to stated income and employment. Number 3, you want to get a co-signer or have somebody add you as an authorized user. Number 4, you want to consider getting a secured credit card. And this is a great way to build credit if your score has taken a hit or if you're just starting to build credit. And secured credit cards are typically easier to qualify for with less strict income requirements. Okay. And the flip side here is that you need enough disposable savings to put down a deposit, because a secured card requires you to make a deposit up front, possibly the same amount as your credit limits. Okay. So I'm showing you right now on the screen, we have actually covered the topic of secured credit cards on other shows, and I'm showing you right now there are two of the best secured credit cards on the market right now. You have the Open Sky secured Visa credit card, and the benefits here: you have credit limits defined by your refundable deposit with this card. You can choose your limit between $2,000 and $3,000. $200 and $3,000, and there is no credit check when applying. And that's for the Open Sky secured Visa credit card. And you also have another credit card, another secure credit card, that's wonderful in our view. It's the secured MasterCard from Capital One. So the benefits here: you have $200 initial credit line after making minimum security deposit, consideration for higher credit line as soon as 6 months from account opening. There's no annual fee, and you can pick your monthly due date. That's really great. And what we love here is that typically secured credit cards have lower credit limits and are meant to be used conservatively to build good credit, and they're able to help you increase your score. So your security deposit, it's usually refunded when you upgrade to an unsecured credit card, assuming your balance is paid in full. So it's really if you really think about it, it's a really a great tool to not only help you build credit, rebuild credit, or actually navigate the world of credit cards while you are unemployed or if you have no income. The last thing you can do, and that could help you here, is to try. You can get a debit card that comes with credit card perks. This is actually a great strategy too, because there are debit cards that come with credit card perks. For example, in our research, we have found the Aspiration Spend and Save account. This is an account that actually offers the chance to earn cash back when you use your debit card, as well as an annual percentage yield of up to 1%. And this was as of April 2021. So we're showing you right now on the screen here, we have the Aspiration account. And with this card, really, you can earn cashback rewards up to 10% when you spend with your debit card. You get $150 bonus when you spend $1,000 in the first 60 days, up to 1% APY interest, up to 25 times higher than big banks. You have unlimited fee-free withdrawals at 55,000 ATMs, and deposits are FDIC insured. And the cool thing, and the reason why we are actually covering this card in this show is because, again, the perks are similar to what you have with some cashback credit cards out there. Okay, with Aspiration Spend, you can receive up to 10% cash back when you use your debit card to pay with select merchants that belong to the bank's Conscience Coalition, what they call Conscience Coalition. So examples of retailers in the coalition includes Tom's, Warby Parker, Blue Apron, Arcadia, and more. So if you are a fan of those brands, or you are in an area where they are located, it could be a good possibilities for you to use this card to if you don't have no income or no job. And there are other valuable features of the account that include your deposits are not used to fund fossil fuel exploration and production. You can opt to plant a tree every time you swap your debit card. You can manage your account from the Aspiration mobile app, which is available for iOS and Android. And your first set of paper checks is free. So, and what's really more here is that you can if you make $1,000 in purchases with your debit card in the first 2 months after your account opening, you will receive a $100 cash bonus. One other thing you can do when it comes to getting a credit card without a job or income, you can try other credit card alternatives. There are gazillions of alternatives out there. Listen, if you have a checking account, your bank will likely give you a debit card to use. And if you don't have one, you can purchase Visa gift cards or try an alternative card like the American Express Bluebird, which actually bills itself as an alternative to banking. Okay, we're showing you the Bluebird on the screen right now. And the American Express Bluebird is pretty interesting because it allows you to access ATMs and provides you with purchase and fraud protection. Obviously, there are fees for certain transactions, but you can also use the card completely free if you know the rules. And you got to know the rules. You have to read the fine prints. In our experience, people who have used the Bluebird have said a lot of great things about the card, but you got to know the rules. You got to read the instructions. You got to read the fine prints, and you have to contact a customer service to clarify everything. Okay, and the downside of this option is that you will only have access to the money that's currently in your account. So with the American Express Bluebird, you only have, it's kind of similar to a secured credit card, if you want to think about it, right? So, for example, if you are struggling and looking for a way to cover your expenses while you look for a job, these alternatives won't help you. So the American Express Bluebird, for example, will not help you. All right. So, folks, this is it for today's conversation. Let me kind of quickly say that unemployment doesn't have to be a barrier to credit card approval. If you have good credit and a source of income you can use to pay the bills, remember, the card issuers pay more attention, if you will, to income and not employment status. Okay, but whether you are unemployed or you have a job, Use your credit card wisely, folks. Do not charge more than you can afford, and you want to strive to pay your bill in full every month to avoid interest. We all know the snowball effect of interest, right? And if that's not realistic, given your employment situation, you want to actually resolve to pay off your balance as soon as you get back on your feet. And one thing you also have to think about here is that there are, and I'm just going to digress a little bit here, you want to actually create an emergency fund, a rainy day fund. This is very important. If you have the fund, you may not need a credit card. And experts from Dave Ramsey to other experts have said you got to have 3 to 6 months in a savings account just for rainy days, right? I say you want to go for 1 full year or 2 years. So you want to have in a bank account, in a separate bank account that you totally forgot about. You really forget about. You want to have money that is equivalent to 1 year of full expenses. And if you have that, you might not need to use a credit card at all if, God forbid, you lose your job and you are looking to get back on your feet financially, because the money will be already there. All right. Okay, folks, thank you very much for your attention. How do you get a credit card with no job and no income? First, you want to list your income sources on your application. You want to understand basic credit card requirements. You want to get a cosigner. You want to be put on as an authorized card holder on somebody else's account. Get a secured credit card. Get a debit card that comes with credit card perks. And you want to try out other credit card alternatives. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.